So in response to the question I put on the Further Emergence Instagram feed, what's the biggest challenge you're facing in your spiritual life? This person wrote, my brother passed away 16 months ago. The last month has been the toughest yet. I miss him. And then there's a heart emoji. So in a weird kind of way, this is similar to what I was talking about love. Because, like, in very, like, I've been talking about love, and, you know, the only place you feel the love when you're with the person that you love is inside you. That applies to all love. I've never felt love in another person's body, ever. And it can seem like, well, how does that relate to somebody passing away? And it's the same. Let's say you're with someone that you love. Not someone that you're in love with, but like a family member or whatever. And they're in the next room. That feeling that you have of knowing that they're in the next room, the love that you have for them, and they're just in the next room, that only happens inside you in exactly the same way. It's not happening in their body in the next room. And even when they're in front of you, the feeling of love that you have for them, the connection, the pleasure of their presence, the pleasure of their company, you experience all that inside you. You don't experience it inside them. Okay? They have got a particular configuration, and that allows you to experience things inside you. Then they're in the next room. You don't see them, it's slightly different, but you know they're there. And because you know they're there, it gives you access to the feelings that you have on the inside. Let's say they go home, they live in their own house. So, you know, you mightn't see them for a week. You don't spend the week grieving. That might sound harsh, but I'm saying it to help bring it back into what's your direct experience. Okay? When you're not around the person, you don't grieve, you don't have pain. Okay? You have that love inside you, and you don't even think about it. Because you know you're going to see them on Sunday, or whenever you're going to see them again. Let's say if you move country, you know, I lived in Australia for 10 years. So I didn't see a lot of my family for a lot of time. I wasn't grieving. Because I kind of knew they were alive. I knew I'd see them again, and I'd talk to them on the phone, kind of thing. So when somebody passes away, two things happen. Grieving is our attachment to that person. The part of us that, you know, the frontal part of us that has to interact with everything, is devastated by it. The pain of, like, when somebody passes away is unreal. It's just, it's irrational, it doesn't make any sense. It comes in waves, you just find yourself crying. It's horrible, okay? And over time it gets easier, all going well. But in my experience, if I think about people who've passed away for long enough, I'll start getting upset, okay? Because it's like I'm focusing on that. So that's true and that's real, and there really isn't much you can do about it except breathe, know it passes, and do your best to comfort and be there for that part of yourself. Parallel with that, paradoxically, because how can these two things exist? Parallel with that, I also know that the love that I have for the person who's passed away is completely alive inside me all the time. It was alive inside me when they were here, or when they were in front of me, when they were in the next room, when they were in another country. And because our mind can be a bit like a gate, it's like I can only be one thing or the other, I can't be both. It makes a problem out of that both these things can exist at the same time. When I let go of that, I let go of, like, I can be grieving, I can be sobbing howling with grief for the person that's passed away, and simultaneously connected to the love that I only ever experienced inside me, and that's completely alive inside me right now, and be howling with grief at the same time. When you can hold those two, it has a weird kind of effect, because it sort of puts everything in the place of where it actually is. Whereas instead of it all being a big mess on top of each other, because even in the depths of grief, there can be moments of stillness where you have a sense of connection with the person. And then you can get into the psychic world and get, oh, they're connecting with me. They're trying to contact me. Oh, I just want to see them again. I just want to, they're just on the other side of the veil. All this kind of stuff. None of which is actually true. What's happening is you're connecting with it on the inside. You're connecting with the love on the inside. So when you can kind of separate it out and kind of go, yeah, the frontal part of me, the least conscious part of me, is the part that's suffering with the attachment I had with the person, with the need. It's like a plug socket. I'm trying to plug in, trying to connect with the person in existence, and the person's no longer in existence. And so it's just every time I try and connect and I don't, it's like a sore thumb, it's like I keep bumping it off things, and every time I do, it's like it hurts so much when I try and connect. I hear a song, oh, that was the song I remember when we were together, and when I used to see that, when we all these funny things that we did and the way that we'd laugh, and ouch, ow, pain, oh, ow, it keeps going like that. So you can see that happening, and then you can also kind of be still and kind of go, yeah, the love is there. If I just for a moment entertain the idea that they're in the next room, that's all. It's exactly the same. I can feel it. I can feel that love. It's inside me. And in a way, everybody that you ever love, it's all inside you, and you have access to it all the time, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So it's a very difficult process, grieving, when someone passes on. Comes in waves. You think, 16 months, you think I would be doing a lot better. and then you are doing a lot better, and then suddenly something triggers it, and it's like, why this month? Why is this month so much harder than other months, And when you kind of know, it'll just go like that, because it's like what the Buddhists call the wheel of suffering, It just goes like that. You suffer until you don't suffer, pretty much. And it seems like that's just the way it is here. And anything you can do to speed up and to not have to suffer, because like there's a big difference between pain and suffering. Pain is just a thing. It just happens. If it happens, it happens, and if you can face it, great. But suffering has got a cyclical quality to it. And if you can get off the wheel of suffering, the faster you can get off it, the great. There's no merit in it, in either, as far as I can see. No merit in pain, no merit in suffering. So if you can suffer less or stop suffering altogether, fantastic. And if there is no pain, well, that'd be great. Because as I've said before, the whole idea of no pain, no gain is not true. Not true at all. But that's another story. So yeah, I feel for you. I've been there. We've all been there. It's awful. And the obvious stuff and a lot of the focus on grief and how to deal with grief is all to do with the attachment side of things. So there's great resources for that. But the other bit that maybe is not so obvious is that you can have this parallel thing, particularly if you've got a sort of spiritual leaning, and if you're listening to me, you probably do. So that's there for you as well. The spiritual side of it, the connection with the love that is inside you for your dear brother. It's alive inside you right now, as if they were in the next room, and that you can feel it and feel terrible grief at the same time. But in some way, the knowledge that the love is inside you helps to take the edge off the really intense grief.